Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for coming. And this, are we good? Pak Didi?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming. I hope that for some of you who have a problem getting in, just so you know that the room and the building is secure. That's why it's a little bit challenging to get in, right, Pak Bambang? So here with me, Pak Bambang Parmanto and Andi, the one who also co-hosts for this Indonesia Focus. And for those who have never been here, this is the 14th time we have the conference. So for Pak Azhar, and I think this is your first time. So I hope this is not your first time coming here, because the 14th time, that means we have the conference every year. And you see around, we generally do not have hundreds and hundreds of people, but you will have the whole day. There's a chance for us to really connect, to learn something, and to find out there are so many topics related to Indonesia that is fascinating, at least for me, you know. So just a little bit of recap, so then we can start the whole day with full of learning activities and sharing, and then also having fun. So this year, we have about 60 different abstracts. That is, I think that's great, because the last time we had that many, maybe when we had it in OSU, far before COVID came, okay? Since then, there was a decline in research related to Indonesia. So the fact after COVID, there were more interest people send us the papers. That means there are more interest people to do research, and also maybe more collaborative work. So I hope by the time you return home, you start thinking about, okay, what will I present next year? Because we already have another host for next year, even two possibility. And also, we're very thankful because the last 2 years we had fully online. So the fact that now I see Pak Antoni again, Antoni Fatoni. Oh, I changed her name to Antoni. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Okay, Pak Fatoni, this is the second time. Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds good. Okay. So this is the second time. I don't know, this is the first time after 3 years, right? We had it online and now hybrid. So we will see more people online maybe after the break. So because for that reason, I'm really thankful for those who are in Indonesia. Because at the moment it is what? It's 8, and then the conference will end in at least in Jakarta area until around 4 a.m. Okay, which is thankful for us, unless you have jet lag. So you have a jet lag, you still feel like, oh, this is too late. Okay. And also, like, you know, a little bit note, if you ask like why this planning is a little bit late. Well, first, as you know, because it's hybrid, we don't know. Some people haven't got their visa until tomorrow, which end up they decide not to come. Some people just got a few days ago. Ibu Wahida, was it like last week? Right? Okay. So all of those changes affect the program. Okay, so apologize for that, for the slow in our part, maybe because we really try to fit in with the situation. And was it last week? Last week it was so cold in Pittsburgh, probably around 1 degree Celsius. Okay. We plan to have it in a grander, you know, place. So we move it over here. So Pak Bambang and Andi, you know, they're grateful. They're great for allowing us to use in a short time. Like, okay, we use our facilities. Everything is great, all in the same room. Okay, but the good thing is having in the same room. So the coffee and the lunch, and then you know it's all closed. And then if for those who are artists in this room, so please feel free to sing along tonight without having to move, okay? I'm sure Pak Azhar, you know, right? Okay, so because Pak Chris is a musician, he's ready to sing tonight, okay? So everything is around here, everything is closed. We try to be the best host we can, like by at least like providing Indonesian food. And then, but it doesn't mean you speak Indonesian during presentation, okay? All right? We understand every word, but this is an international conference. Unless you're stuck, then we'll help you. Otherwise, I want you to speak English, not because Ibu Ann is the only native speaker here, but I learned from the experience, Pak Bambang, his English improved so much after attending 5 times. Right? Okay? So, force yourself to speak English. if we're stuck, we will help you. And I think, and I'm hoping, with the program that we have the whole day, not only we will have a great experience interacting, learning from you, and also sharing from you. And I hope that there's a chance for you not only to know each other, but also to go out, Go out for, what I mean is, there is a little bit chance for you, like after the break, and then also at between 5 to 6, I don't know how easy it is to get in later on,
We'll have security.
Oh, so is it hard? Is it harder to get in? Because I thought from 5 to 6, so
we have security, Firdaus.
Okay. So if you have
He will be there all day.
Well, we will take turn.
Take turn.
Yeah.
So around 5 or 6 or after lunch, but I encourage around 5 or 6, go out, take pictures, because then you need to maybe put on your Facebook, tell us about Indonesia Focus, tell us about Pittsburgh, tell us about University. So take the pictures and then come back for dinner, okay?
Yeah.
So we will have more chances to talk, but for now, we start the conference, and well, I will introduce you to Pak Bambang. We'll talk a little bit about his school. I mean, because he's one of the most powerful academic here.
Yeah.
And unlike me, Pak Bo, Pak Chris, he has all the projects. There's everything's so cool. And he also will introduce to the next speaker, to the first keynote speaker, who also the alumni from this department, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Pak Bambang. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Baya. And before I introduce the keynote speaker this morning, I'd like to welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh. And this is the where we are, the School of Health and Rehab Sciences. And as Baya mentioned, that it's a challenging to hold a conference in this post-pandemic, but not quite over pandemic. It's a challenge, whether we need to hold it virtual, in-person, hybrid. I had a few conferences this fall and had the same issues, and that's the challenge. And as Baya mentioned, choosing the venue is also a challenge as well because of the hybrid nature of the conference. So originally we planned to have it at the William Pitt Union here, which it's formally a hotel, so it's more you feel more like a real conference that it's supposed to be. But the problem is in that kind of venue, usually the audio visual is not set up and all of those things. So we decided to move to this, which everything is ready, and you don't have really the feeling of you attending a big conference. But that's the nice thing is the venue is as well set up, and everything can be done without much of glitch, hopefully. Yeah. So before that, I'd like to thank Baya, and Andy is the one who did most of the work, from securing rooms, contacting security, and all of this, and apologies if you have issues entering the room, the building, because prior to COVID, everybody, as can enter the building freely, but after COVID, there is a security and need to be checked and all of those things, so make it difficult for entering the building, and we need to secure the elevator, the building, and everything. So that's the issues with after COVID, entering the building. So and not to thank the students who help us, Andy, Zaki, Mansur, and Firdaus. Speaking of that, Baya mentioned about speaking in English. Many of my students are from Indonesia. So Zaki, including Andy, long time ago. So we make a rule: don't ever speak Indonesian. And because otherwise you won't improve your English. And that's for a second is that I don't want those who are not Indonesian to feel excluded. So, in my lab, many of the members are from Indonesia. So, we don't want to feel, others to be excluded. So we never speak Indonesian, in my lab. And you could tell that, sometimes, with Zaki, we get used to speaking in English. And outside, office, we might speak in Indonesian. So that's the, it helps, as Maya mentioned. Okay, so, and again, and thank you, and apologies for inconvenience, and I could blame COVID for that, and I'd like, it's a privilege to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Soleh Ayubi. He is the Chief Transformation and Digital Officer of BioPharma. As you know, BioPharma is the holding company for biotech and healthcare companies in Indonesia. So it's an umbrella company for everything related to healthcare and biotech. And he is the rising star of the young BUMN talent that hopefully will transform BUMN in the next few years. And after finishing his PhD here, the privilege of being a professor is that you could claim credit for the success of your student. And although it's nothing to do with me, but I could claim his success. So after finishing his PhD, he started a career in the United States, as the innovation manager at the Children's Hospital, and then move on to become the director of innovation at the United Healthcare, the large healthcare company here. And then after that, he was head of digital therapeutics at Novo Nordisk, one of the leading biotech, biopharma in the world. And so, because of his success, he was recruited by Budi Sadikin when he was at the BUMN ministry before he was appointed as the health minister in Indonesia. So he was recruited as a young talent who has successfully built his career and built experience in the United States. So that's really a great initiative on his part in building BUMN to compete, with, and to be successful. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Soleh Ayubi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Bambang. It's an honor for me to be here, and I will present a topic that I am, and I believe many of you are passionate about. It's about global collaboration for global healthcare security. Indonesia focus, Pak Bambang, University of Pittsburgh are not new for me. I used to be proud of all those entities. I came back to Indonesia exactly 2 years ago on September 2020. Before that time, as explained by Pak Bambang, that I used to be living in the US for almost 13 years. Almost 6.5 years was in Pittsburgh as the student of Pak Bambang. So he is very humble, mentioning that it's nothing to do with my success. That's not true. All my success, I think, started with his guidance, his mentorships, and it leads to become students, leading to who I am right now. So come back again to the topics. I think it's very, very interesting topics, and I think everybody right now has a very focus on healthcare, because of the pandemic that we have been having in the past couple of years. But before that, I would love to introduce myself for those who are not familiar with me. I am Soleh Ayubi, right now the Chief of Corporate Transformation and Digital Officer at BioPharma. So I am right now responsible for all corporate transformation, M&A, merger and acquisitions, corporate consolidation, business alignment, product alignment, etc., including all the digitalization initiatives across the group. And right, that's Biopharma Group is a holding company that SOE, State-Owned Enterprise Holding Company, that oversee about 17 companies underneath, and we are doing a lot of stuff. So probably I would love to share my screen so that all of you will have some kind of a visual cue for the topics that I'm about to present. So just want to give you some kind of fun facts about Biopharma. So Biopharma is the largest healthcare services company in Indonesia. In total, we have almost 100 pharmacies across Indonesia with more than 400 clinics, 72 diagnostic labs, and then we have about 100,000 daily visits to our outlets. And soon, very soon, I hope in the next couple of weeks, the hospital groups, 79 hospital under state-owned enterprises will be joining Biopharma as well. So it becomes like the first and the only end-to-end healthcare ecosystem, I believe, in the world. In addition to healthcare services, we also have pharmaceutical arms, and currently we have about more than 1,300 products, including chemical-based pharmaceuticals, medical devices, biotech, biology products, and so on. And very soon, we'll be launching more than 200 products as well in the next 3 years. And every year, our products, vaccines, pharmaceutical products, medical devices, touch more than 500 million people globally, meaning that the products that people use is not only for Indonesian market but also for global market. As of today, we have been exporting our product to almost 150 countries around the globe. The most popular one is probably polio vaccine. The topic that I want to mention in the next couple of slides is about one of them. At the same time, we also the manufacturing companies. We also have distribution company, and currently we are trying to connect all the dots. In the past, these 16 companies are independent of each other, and then right now we are trying to consolidate all of them into like single integrated holding company. It's going to be very difficult, of course. It will not going to be easy, but I think this is something that we need to do, and I think worth it to do. The three success stories that I want to share with you is about global collaborations. In detail, I will share each of the topics, but overall, the topic is about we working together with global organization, whether it's research organization or foundations or non-profit organizations, but we are trying to come up with the solutions for wicked problems, wicked healthcare problems that we are currently facing. The first one that I want to share with you is the success story about Indovac. Indovac is a COVID-19 vaccine that was launched by Pak Jokowi a couple of weeks ago. It is a collaboration between Biopharma and Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, PATH, as well as WHO. In detail, I will explain that project in the next couple of slides. The second project that I want to share with you, the success story that I want to share with you, is about special economic zone that we are establishing right now in Bali. It's a special economic zone where we will have not only hospitals, but we also have some kind of research institution in that specific area. that specific economic zone is special economic zone will have some kind of flexibility compared to the overall setup that we are currently having in Indonesia. For example, the foreign doctors currently cannot practice in Indonesia, but in this special economic zone, they can do that. So I think that's pretty breakthrough, from my perspective. We'll explain that topic as well in the next couple of slides. The last success story that we have is about a joint collaboration between Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Farma, and later with UNICEF, where in that collaboration we developed polio vaccines, novel oral polio vaccine 2, for strain 2. In details, I will start with the first one, the Indovac vaccine. So that that vaccine is, as I mentioned before, is a collaboration between research institution, Baylor College of Medicine, Biopharma, PATH, and the WHO. The end result that we have is 79% components are local component, local materials from Indonesia. So the one that we got from Baylor College of Medicine is just the original seed, the first seed, the lab standard seed. Then Biopharma took the seed and then do some kind of work to make sure that it meets industrial and GMP standard, and then we do clinical trial 1, clinical trial 1, 2, and 3, and then eventually a couple of weeks ago we got the approval from Indonesian FDA to release to the market. And currently, we are planning to produce about 6 million doses this year, and then next year about 40 million doses, and then if needed, we can bump the production capacity up to 120 million doses per year. We are planning to use this COVID-19 vaccine not only for local market, Indonesian market, but also for global market. So far, we are working closely with WHO to get AUL so that we can export these products to some other countries that are still in need to have this COVID-19 vaccine, whether for primary vaccine or for booster. And in this process, we're not only producing the COVID-19 vaccine, but also we are establishing very strategic long-term collaboration with Baylor College of Medicine. We are currently working closely with them to train biopharma employees with better or newer technological platforms, as well as GMP standard like US FDA standard. We have a plan to send about 20 until 30 people every year to Baylor College of Medicine, so that we can have closer collaboration with them and can explore more or other opportunities beyond the COVID-19 vaccines. The second story that I want to share with you is about our initiative to establish a special economic zone in Bali. For those who are familiar with Bali, probably about Sanur area, where State Enterprise has about 20 hectares of land, including golf site, and we're gonna convert that 20 hectares of lands very close to Sanur Beach into special economic zone, special healthcare economic zone. And currently the goal is to reduce Indonesian people who are every year trying to get healthcare treatment outside of Indonesia or overseas, mostly to Singapore and Malaysia. as explained, as you can see from this slide, that we have about 2 million people, 2 million Indonesian is going to abroad, especially Malaysia and Singapore, to get treatment. With from economic perspective, is Indonesia losing about $6 billion per year for for treatment for Indonesian people getting treatment overseas. So we're trying to establish the same quality, the same treatment, but not in Malaysia or somewhere else, but in Bali. And at the same time, we are also trying to open an opportunity to look for an opportunity for people from Singapore or Australia as well to get treatment in Indonesia. To establish this special economic zone, we are in collaboration, or joint collaboration with Mayo Clinics, and we're hoping to have this special economic zone established next year, if possible mid next year. If not, then probably toward the end of the year. So we're trying to combine the healthcare capabilities with special treatment, special support from the government with tourism. So you can call this idea as medical tourism as well. And the last story that I want to share with you is about joint collaboration between Farma and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and UNICEF. It's very long collaboration, started around 2014, where when we have some kind of agreement to develop new polio vaccines. And as of today, I think we have been delivering more than 300 million doses of vaccine to more than 23 countries globally. And we are right now still producing, and we're targeting to have some kind of stockpiling for more than 1 billion doses of vaccine, so that at some point, if needed, to have some to deal with polio outbreak in some area. Probably some of you know that currently there are some countries having polio outbreaks, like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and some small countries in Africa as well. So we're doing campaign, polio campaign in 23 countries right now. So this joint collaboration is something that we are very proud of about, because an OPV through the vaccine that we developed together is the first vaccine getting AUL from WHO. So I think that's something that very something that we are very proud of, very proud about. And Biopharma is the only company globally producing this type of vaccines. We are currently working on the NOPV1 and NOPV3 as well. Something that we are concerned about, especially in special zone in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So we're hoping in the next 1 or 2 years we're gonna release NOPV1 and NOPV3 as well. For those who are not familiar with polio, so polio has 3 strains, polio 1, polio 2, and polio 3. The one that we tackle first is polio 2, because that type of polio is very popular, and then we are working on the first one and the third one. So the message that I want to share with you is, we are very proud. I think we did a very good job. We delivered success story, 3 success story global collaborations, and we are looking for more. We are right now very welcoming. We are very open to have conversation with research institution, with NGO, with universities, or even with other companies, not only in Indonesia or Southeast Asia, but also globally. We're looking for specifically 8 areas that you can see here on the screen. we are looking for whether it's R&D organization, like joint R&D activities, or doing clinical trial together, or even manufacturing and then eventually distributing the products, especially in Vietnam and Indonesia. So the 8 areas the 8 segments that we are looking into is, the first one is for digital healthcare. So if there is any of you, there is any organization that having some kind of solution, in healthcare, we are happy to see. The second area is about medical devices, something that we can produce quickly, such as cardiac stents, pregnancy test kit, diabetes test kit, or something like that. Diagnostic kit is also something that we are looking into. Drugs, of course, there's something that usually needs long terms and big commitment, right? But we are very open with that as well. Biologic products, something that we are looking into very seriously. We are probably some of you knows that we just have some kind of agreement with big companies, including Moderna, Procter, as well as Rhino. We are in very serious conversation with BioNTech. OTC drugs and herbals, like medicine, over-the-counter medicine, vitamins. That's also something that we are looking into. Cosmetic, that's also the area that's very hot right now in terms of bottom line. EBITDA or net margin. Cosmetic is something that has very big value. So that's the area that we are very seriously looking into. R&D tools, R&D method. That's also something that we are very interested to have some kind of conversation with global partners. So at the end, I just want to give a message that Biopharma, even though it's small compared to the other pharmaceutical companies and it's state-owned enterprise, but I think we are doing a really good job. We did some kind of success story, and we are still hungry. We are looking into more collaboration to deliver a success story for global healthcare security. That's I think the message that I want to share with you. And let's collaborate. Let's work together for a healthier world. I'm closing this speech and very open to have a Q&A.
Thank you, Bayu. It's a fascinating success stories for bringing in international collaboration to address important healthcare issues in Indonesia. Just from historical story, the first polio vaccine was developed by Jonas Salk about 2 blocks from here. So yeah, so Jonas Salk was in Pittsburgh and he was a faculty here, and that's probably the first really breakthrough vaccine for very serious problems, which is polio. Polio usually lead to paralyzing and then this really terrible disease, and it's really surprising that we still have it right now, throughout the world. So, and I'm glad that Biopharma, working in addressing that issue. It's not a new issue like COVID, but it's an old problem, but it's really terrible disease that is preventable. That's the most important thing. And I'd like to open the QA. Any questions from the in-person here as well as the virtual audience? Yes, Patrice.
Can I speak?
Yes, yeah.
All right. Asayo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for sharing the good news, the success stories. I just have a quick question about the economic zone. Could you elaborate more in terms of how we develop the advanced medical services in that area? So you bring in global professionals, or you invite businesses to invest in that area, or something else? Okay, and the second one is, could you maybe highlight more in terms of the economic benefits that Indonesia receives from that economic zone, like in terms of maybe how many local workers or local professionals that are expected to be recruited in that project, in that zone. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay. It's a very interesting questions. Yeah. So in details, right now we are still working closely with IO clinics as well as with the other government institution, including, for example, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry of State-owned Enterprises. But the idea is that we're going to have similar. Probably some of you are familiar with Batam, right? Batam is, the special economic zone that we established a long time ago, and I think we want to replicate that success story in Bali, specific for healthcare. So the idea is we're going to have that economic zone where some kind of flexibility will be provided by the government. The one that I mentioned before, foreign doctors cannot practice in Indonesia normally, but in that special zone, they can practice. We also have, probably some of you knows that many, pre-market drugs or medicine cannot be prescribed in Indonesia normally, but in that special zone, we can do that, like pre-market drugs or medicine. And then also, there are some, of course, it's like we're gonna invite healthcare professional from not only doctors but also nurses, therapists from overseas to work on that area. Other than that, it's like we are also establishing, the concept, a similar concept with Kendall Square. Some of you are very familiar with Kendall Square, where we have startup companies and pharmaceutical companies to have area where they can collaborate, where they can work together and eventually come up with, we hope, historical breakthrough in treatment. We are also working closely with Ministry of Finance so that we have some kind of flexibility and also incentive for the business and companies to enter that special zone. What I heard right now, there are some kind of tax holiday for about 20 years. So I think that's really good incentive for companies to operate in that special economic zone. And then the last one, currently we have a plan at least to create job opening for more than 40,000 people around that area, to really get involved in establishing the special zone, as well as after the special zone established. Of course, we're gonna have local worker as well to work on that area. So the planning is 43,000 people will be working in the next 1 or 2 years, and then we're gonna have about 7,000 people working in that area after everything is set up. I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just would like to continue with his question. How about who's going to use this facility? Those who are right now who are going to abroad to get the treatment. How about the ordinary people? Can we use BPJ as for example? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So our target, the first market segment that we are planning to have is somebody who used to be getting the treatment outside of the country, somebody getting treatment in Malaysia or Singapore. So instead of going to those countries, we are hoping that they're going to be coming to Sanur, to Bali. The second segment is people who are traveling from overseas to Bali. So we're hoping they're traveling to Bali not only for tourism but also for getting treatment. Number three, there are a lot of discussion about whether these facilities or this special zone will be accessible for BPJS holder or not. It's not done. The discussion is not done. But I don't think that it's like I don't think that special zone will be accessible for BPJS holder. From kind of business perspective, I don't think that the cost will match with BPJS holder.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rahim.
I actually would like to follow up on Pak Powo's questions. My question is connected to the accessibility, right? The questions of access, especially connected to the COVID vaccines and polio vaccines. Have you addressed that questions on how these vaccines can be accessed by those, especially the marginalized populations, populations that live, in isolated places, and also those who do not have resources, and so on. So I'm just wondering to what extent that your company is also addressing the access issues, especially for the marginalized populations. And because the second program seems to target the elite people, right? So how about the first and the third programs? I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, very interesting question. When we decided to use protein recombinant platforms for our COVID-19 vaccine, we are considering the flexibility and the challenge that we have when distributing the vaccine. As many of you know that if, for example, we're developing vaccine using mRNA platforms, it's not easy to distribute that kind of vaccine. mRNA vaccine, for example, Moderna and Pfizer across Indonesia or LMIC countries, where we don't have infrastructure, like good enough infrastructure to distribute that kind of vaccine. So yes, when we developing the polio vaccine as well as COVID-19 vaccine, accessibility for marginal or for LMIC countries is always in our mind. The second point that I want to mention is that instead of developing vaccine using the injection, we are focusing on developing vaccine using the oral. So the polio vaccine is using oral because it's very easy to distribute. It's very easy to administer. Not only like medium economic countries like Indonesia, but also very low income countries like some smaller countries in Africa. So yes, the first and the third one are designed for low and medium income countries and marginal community as well. And then, I'm telling you the story that, when we distribute the vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, as of today, we have been distributing more than 403 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine across Indonesia. And distributing vaccine in Indonesia is much harder compared to distributing vaccine in Europe or in the US. And I think we did really good job in distributing those vaccines, such amount of vaccine across Indonesia, across 7,000 islands in Indonesia. So we are very proud about that. I hope that answered your questions.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, Ayubi, wonderful presentation. And then I do really love the idea about medical and also tourism. My name is Robbie Andriawan from Illinois State University. Before the questions from Pak Chris, Pak Bowo from economic, my question is about education. Like Pak Bambang said before, prevention is also better for curing, right? How about...
Can you speak up louder?
Sure. How about from Biopharma? Is there any project that related about education? Let's say that to give the socialization, because sometimes it's not about they can assess that or they have money or not, but also maybe the factors about their education. Maybe they believe that vaccine because of religion concern, so on and so forth. So they decided to not having a vaccine. Is there any program that related about education, socialization, that so people can have more vaccinations?
Yeah, it's very valid questions, and I do agree with you that if you take a look, from kind of scientific perspective, right? The medical intervention that we are currently doing, like with whether from universities or from hospital, from doctors, nurses, that's probably account just 30% of the overall outcomes, right? The 70%, the other 70% are coming from the patient and family itself, right? It's like about health, about their lifestyle, behavior, and so on. So we as a business entity have, of course, education is not our focus. That I think the area where Ministry of Health or overall the government are responsible for. We as a business entity, of course, going to be helping government, and this one is like state-owned enterprise. We are part of a government. We're going to be helping them, but we are not, of course, solely responsible for that. So that we're not the leading sector. The government are, and that's one thing. And the second one is, Abang mentioned about curative versus preventive. Preventive care is something that we are very passionate about right now. We are establishing new department. We are setting up several programs on the preventive care. Some of them we just launched. One of them we launched it about 3 weeks ago at a G20 event. That's joint forces, joint collaboration between Farma, Novo Nordisk, Fitbit, Google Health, and one small company from Singapore. Basically, we are establishing a new initiative for preventive care, for people with diabetes or pre-diabetic condition. That's kind of the pilot that we are currently doing, and we're hoping that if this pilot goes well, then we can expand this project or this initiative nationally with more diseases, not only diabetes but also something else like blood pressure or heart disease. And we believe that yes, I think we have to move on from COVID-19 pandemics, but we do believe that in the near future, we're gonna have more serious and scarier pandemics, chronic disease pandemics. If you notice that in the past couple of years, all the treatment for chronic disease, have been delayed, right? All the treatment for people with diabetes or high blood pressure or heart disease have been delayed in the past couple of years. So we're it's just scary to imagine what's coming very soon for those for people who have that kind of chronic disease and have been delayed getting treatment.
Thank you, Bayub. The question from Virtual, Agus.
Yeah, so it's sorry. So thank you. I'm actually downstairs just to guarding with the I've been following your presentations, and oh yeah, by the way, my name is Agus. I'm also a student of Dr. Pamanto here. So I'm following your presentation about the spatial economic zone. It's really interesting for me because since I'm actually from there. So one thing that I'm curious about is the potential of research collaboration between those entities, like Biopharma or the hospital, with the academic environment. For example, the university, either the university in Bali or others. So how is there any the potential, the possibility of that one in terms of is either a ready product or a startup or something like that? Thank you.
It's valid questions. So far, we have about 18 institutions joining, like in a very serious conversation to get involved in that spatial economic zone, specific for healthcare education is the University of Udayana. So the Faculty of Medicine from Udayana University will be the one responsible to provide local healthcare professional working in that area, as well as establishing some kind of center of excellence that we're gonna have in that special economic zone. And of course, Mayo clinics, as well as some other research institution will guide University of Udayana as well on that process. So it's very very early. We just building the basic infrastructure, like the road and some kind of buildings, small buildings. But you're gonna see if you have any plan to visit Bali, I think you're gonna see some very fast and huge progress in the next couple of months.
Yes, that's the last one.
Last question is virtual from Pak Joko Supriyanto. Please. You can either type or you can. Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So you mentioned about 2 million Indonesians that pretty much run all the medical needs, and then based on your calculations, how many, what is the percentage from those 2 million that they will need to stay in Indonesia for their medical needs? And then it's not just about the budget, it's about the doctors and the surveys and so
think the plan is to have medical facilities with high class, with world class healthcare professionals in Bali. So the end goal is that we're gonna compete with big hospitals like Mount Sinai from Singapore or some hospital in Penang. That's the goal. We're gonna compete with them. We're gonna be better than them in many ways. That's gonna be like the goal, so that Indonesian people traveling overseas to get treatment, they prefer to go to Bali because of that comparable qualities that we offer in Bali. Our plan to if this Bali, this special economic zone works well, then we're gonna establish a couple more. If you see that from the positioning, even though, for example, Bali provide better quality than Singapore, but people from, let's say, West Sumatra, they prefer go to Malaysia because it's much closer, from geographical perspective. So the one that we established in Bali is to cover east and probably central Indonesia. So we're planning to establish two couple more. One is around probably West Sumatra or Batam, and then the last one is probably around Java Island. So at the end, in the next, I don't know, couple of years, we're going to establish. We are establishing right now the first in Bali, and then the second one in around Batam or West Sumatra, and then the last one is going to be in Java Islands. We are hoping that at least in the next 7 years, 50% of them, 50% of traveling overseas to get medical treatment, they're going to do it in Indonesia. And based on the data that we have, actually, people traveling to overseas is not, not all of them are getting very serious treatment. Even just medical checkup, they do it in Singapore, they do it in Malaysia. So I think we're gonna target. The first one is East Indonesia and Central Indonesia area, and then to the West area. That's kind of the plan.
Okay, thank you. And just to give you perspective, Biopharma is the company, but it's really exciting actually that the Bio is leading the effort in addressing many of the basic and important issues of healthcare in Indonesia, including the vaccine. And the business opportunity, as he explained, is in Indonesia as well as in low and medium income countries. So I think Biopharma wouldn't be competing with Pfizer, for example. But imagine that it can produce vaccine for probably a few billion people in low and medium income countries, including in Africa especially. So those are, I think, business opportunities that are in the future for companies like Biopharma. So something areas that probably Pfizer wouldn't be interested in because those countries are too poor, to buy Pfizer products, for example. So imagine that, and the impact I think will be enormous, not only for Indonesia but also in the world. And another exciting opportunity like what I mentioned is the upper class and upper middle class of Indonesia. I think if you live in Jakarta, you know somebody who go to Singapore, to get just a basic healthcare checkup, which is really astonishing actually. And that's the money drain for Indonesia, and it's about $7 to $10 billion per year, and that's really exciting that also the Biopharma is working on addressing that, because not only the money that flows to Singapore and Malaysia, but also there's not much development in terms of high-end healthcare treatment in Indonesia, and this one I think the initiative hopefully will bring in and improve the trust and in Indonesian healthcare, so that the upper middle class society, like probably most of you, come from, will get the treatment locally in Indonesia. So thanks, Pak Ayub. This was a great presentation, and
Well, Pak Ayub, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and presenting. I think for a lot of us, there are more smiles on their face when they listen to you, because I think some people here want to retire in Bali, or so they're like, okay, now I can retire in Bali because it's easy to go. And I hope that maybe in the future you can come and join us here. Maybe when you have permission from your boss, you can come and join us for presenting and sharing again. And feel free to join us. We have our conference is until evening, and there's so many things to talk about. And for the rest, let's grab a cup of coffee. We'll hear something a little bit different after this. And I just have one last question for you. So in case some people want to ask you a question, because we don't have time to ask you a question, can we contact you? Do you mind if we contact you for further question? Yes?
Why
Okay.
not?
All right, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, give a big applause for Pak Ayub. All right, so let's grab a cup of coffee or something that you want, maybe about for 10 minutes. Guess, and Ibu Ann will be here to share something more interesting as well, more from health toward social sciences. Okay, all right.